Hey guys, so today I just got back from a camping trip. It was our first one of the year and my plants need some care. I've been gone for a few days. I thought we could go around and do kind of a planty collection walkthrough slash pretty much my entire collection of plant care. That was not the best way to word that, for sure. Take some up close looks at all of my plants and do all the maintenance-y things that need to be done that weren't done the last few days while I was camping. So I think we're gonna start here on my Dracaena marginata. Here's the thing. If you remember, I got this plant from Facebook Marketplace, and upon bringing it home, realized that the entire thing was just coated in spider mites. I sprayed the whole thing down with Captain Jack's a couple of times. I didn't see any signs of spider mites after like a few weeks. So I was like, okay, it's good. I can bring it upstairs. Well, brought it up here. I hate you little effers. And there are freaking spider mites all over this thing. It's very, very difficult to show spider mites on camera, but you can kind of see the webbing here. And then the tiny little dots you can see in the webbing are the spider mites themselves. Ugh, I hate them. Fortunately, this plant isn't too near any of my other plants. The closest is a Cebu Blue and a Philodendron atabapoense, but they are still a few feet away, so I think we're okay with like spreading. I don't think it's going to spread too much, but it is definitely like in the back of my mind. Yeah, you can see them right there really well. That is disgusting. The plant is definitely not happy. I'm not happy. Let's see, I think that's all of the bad leaves. Like up here. I don't know. Okay, this is not working out. I think I just like my messy hair. So many dead leaves, and I've been pulling dead leaves off like every few days. It is just going downhill. Outside of the spider mite issue, my kids have never really shown an interest in my plants, but for some reason, out of nowhere, they suddenly have been messing around in this plant a lot. They have been kind of digging around in the dirt and messing with the root system anytime I turn my back. So this plant will definitely be going outside for the summer. I don't know, we're just gonna kind of see what happens with it. It's still not warm enough here, but once I'm able to move it outside, I'll definitely spray it down with neem oil pretty good. That seems to take care of spider mites really well. I love neem oil for spider mites. I'm just gonna douse the thing. Douse it, let it dry, douse it, let it dry, douse it, let it dry, and then rinse it off. But you'll see all of that later on. But anyway, those are the two, the spider mites and the digging around in the soil, kind of jostling around the root system. I don't think this plant is appreciating it. So it's struggling, and I'm really sad about it because it's been doing fine up until like, honestly, the last few weeks. I'm just a little bit disheartened right now, you know? This is a very poor note to start this video off on. Should we move on? I think so. I think it's been kind of eating away at me a little bit, you know? I'm sure you know, if you have a plant like this that just out of nowhere has an issue and then you're like, what am I gonna do about this? You know, I don't know, maybe you're a better plant keeper than me. Changed my hair again, it was bothering me. Just gonna water a couple of these. Lately I have been doing a little bit of a top water and then I'll just fill up any bottom vessels. You guys probably know, I love the really deep saucers to like bottom water with, and I get asked all the time like if I empty out the water in between, and I really don't, but I think that's mostly because I use a super chunky mix that I've kind of like come up with that works for my specific plant care habits, routines, methods. So a super chunky airy mix allows for a lot of airflow down to the roots. I don't have to worry too much about root rot. Yeah, I'm gonna water this Cebu Blue, which, this plant, you guys, will always hold a special place in my heart. This is the Cebu Blue I found in my very first ever big box plant store shop with me video, which was one of my first videos to really ever take off. That was a kind of video that nobody had really ever done before. That video did really well and it just kind of changed my whole life. I also got this awesome Cebu Blue pothos out of it, but we have been through a lot together. I love this plant. It always just looks good and does well. I've propagated it so many times. You guys know I say this spiel every single time I talk about this plant, but I do just love this plant so much. Isn't it pretty? And it's one I never, ever, ever have to worry about, like for real. Never, never, ever, ever. Also gonna water this Micans. This one I am a little bit concerned about because it has a lot of dried up leaves. I just think it's drying out too fast. I think this one might need to be up potted, and that's the issue because I do have to water this bad boy like constantly. Every single day I'm checking this because it dries out so freaking fast. And the leaves just seem to turn really quickly. So I don't know, I do really like it here, which is why I've kind of avoided up potting it, because any bigger of a pot, it's not going to fit here anymore. I don't know, for the good of the plant, I might have to. Let's pull off some of these little leaves that have just, yeah, they're just like drying out way too fast. I don't know, because I love it in this spot. I don't want to move it. And then these ones just all need to be watered. This Global Green Pothos, Bonnie Spider Plant, and Brazil Philodendron in my lamp plant stands. I freaking love these, you guys, and it's kind of a bummer because every time I post about the lamp stands, it's weird. I get so much hate about them. Like, people get so heated about these things. Anyway, everything just needs to be watered. I don't really have too much to say about these ones other than I love them and I get a lot of hate from them. Okay, more water. Okay, so in my youth, I used to love using small little vessels to water my plants, mostly because I had too much time on my hands. Nowadays, I need to be able to water a little more efficiently, but unfortunately, I cannot find, I usually use old Arizona tea jug from like years ago to water my plants up here, because I can water a lot of plants with minimal refills, which is really nice. But I can't find it. I don't know where it went. It's kind of a bummer. So right now I'm using this little watering can. I thrifted a ceramic one, and don't get me wrong, I like this because I can really focus the tip. I just need to refill it constantly, which is a little bit annoying to me in this stage of my busy life. Just want a coffee. I don't know what it is. Well, I do know what it is, but whenever I used to go camping with like pre-kid, I used to feel so rejuvenated and like grounded and ready to tackle everything. But like camping with my kids, I just felt exhausted after. Like I do feel grounded and more relaxed, but just nowhere near what it was pre-kid. I usually drink mostly mud water or tea, but like today I just really need a coffee. I do. Well, I don't. I just think I do for whatever reason. Anyway, it's really good. So a bunch of my plants over here need watered, including this golden pothos. And yeah, pretty much everything over here is doing really well. I just... Not that one, maybe my agave here. Okay. I'm feeling really good. Everything is doing pretty well lately. I don't know, plant care is just a little bit easier during the warm season. I feel like you don't have to worry as much about overwatering because for me, things seem to dry out a lot more quickly. Again, with the potting mix I use especially, it's just very airy and... Ah! Did you see that? No, you didn't. I was kind of hoping I'd find some issues that I could really take care of right now. Other than the Dracaena marginata, I can't really do anything about that right now because I have to repot it outside and I have to spray it outside because it's just too big. But with it only being 40 degrees out right now, like I cannot take it outside. I can't. It's too cold. Here's the thing, I am so happy that my plants are doing well right now, but as a plant YouTuber, it's like a little bit boring for you guys because there's not a whole lot of issues to be dealing with right now. I've been pretty on top of things. So I don't know if this kind of video is of interest to you. I don't know if this is of interest to you. It's just all I have right now. My Syngonium erythrophyllum is pretty thirsty at the moment. Glad I'm watering today. That one does not need to be watered, but this Pilia does definitely need to be watered. Cute. As I was like perusing this area, watering things, I realized that right here is just kind of empty, and for a while I was kind of thinking I wanted to put a tall plant on this bar stool, or bar cart, that's what it's called, on this bar cart that would be able to grow up the wall, but I actually think I'm going to put a hanging plant up here. I was kind of thinking what I wanted to put up there, and I remembered, just today, I have some neon pothos cuttings that I've been rooting in water for like months and months now, very much ready to be potted. So I'm going to pot them into this little situation here, pot up some of my water propagations, which I love doing this. It's so freaking therapeutic to me to pot up propagations. We'll better move Bestie out of the way. Let's move this out of the way, actually. These are all the neon pothos cuttings. I always forget something. So close, no matter how far. No, I can't go low enough. To unpot these propagations, I'm just gonna pull them out and set them into this bin to help keep this mat from getting too wet. It's probably going to get wet, but this pot here that I'm pulling everything out of is kind of smelly, which I think is why I've been avoiding doing this, because I don't know, it's just not fun to repot a smelly plant. It's just not. Ooh, yeah, that one is not good. I don't know why, but compared to the other two vessels, this one just got so smelly and more of the cuttings haven't been doing well. Gonna dump that out outside. But yeah, I'm just gonna pull out all of the cuts, all of the props. They're no longer cuts because they are very well rooted. Like, look at that. which that compared to this. That's crazy, right? Like, what is the difference? They were sitting right next to each other. I treated them the same. For some reason, this planter and this planter have just done so much better than that other one I have no idea why. So I may end up actually just tossing these because a lot of the roots are rotted for whatever reason. It's so weird. They were living in near identical, they were living in a 4-inch difference on the windowsill, and that's the only difference between the care of these two. So, and I guess also the planter size. I'm just gonna toss those because they're all very rotted. That's kind of a bummer. What happened? And yes, I did just toss those in the garbage. I used to feel really guilty about doing that, but Nick P posted a video about, he was trashing like a whole bunch of his plants for various reasons. And he spoke about some things in there that made me stop feeling guilty about throwing away plants because I don't know, I just felt so guilty about it forever. And I still kind of do, but not as bad after watching that. I don't know. What he said made a lot of sense to me. So thank you, Nick, for sharing all of your knowledge. Yeah, those roots look great too. So I have so many propagations here. I probably wouldn't need to have that many propagations, including the ones I threw away. This is definitely too much even to pot into that planter together. So I don't know, some of them may end up going back into one of these vessels, but yeah, so I have all of my cuts here. I'm gonna go ahead and add substrate to the bottom of this. This is just my go-to mix. I did actually add extra cocoa coir and sphagnum petals and vermiculite into here so that there would be additional moisture retention properties. Where the cutting is going to sit up here, kind of out of reach, I'll have to climb up on a stool to water it. So I did want it to be able to hold water a little bit better, especially where there are water propagations I'm moving into a substrate. It's really important to keep them well moistened for the first little while. I filled it up to about here. Now I'm gonna go through and select my cuttings. Any cuttings that have multiple leaves, I'm going to put in here because they'll grow faster. So like this one was a top cut and it has a whole bunch of new leaves. This is definitely going in there. There are a lot of top cuts actually because my plant that I chopped these from was very big. This plant is the one that has been hanging in my bathroom for a really long time. The plant got massive and then it got root rot, which I don't want to talk about, but hey, it's okay. We propagated it. And that plant is growing. Wow, look at that. Those look great. Okay, set them in here. Something else I'm kind of being mindful of, although it's not like super important, is placement. So where this isn't a super well lit spot, it's actually not a very ideal spot for a plant, but this is a plant that can tolerate pretty low light, fortunately, which is why this is the one I'm going to be putting back there. But I am going to put my longer cuts toward one side, which this is the side, like this is forward facing. This is the side you're going to be able to see. I have it facing towards you as it sits up there. So these longer vines have a better opportunity to get light on this side and they can kind of cascade down because ideally that's what I want. I want this to cascade down and really hang and fill in that section of my wall where it's just kind of an awkward space where I can't really put too much. I mean, I could hang up a picture. Ryan doesn't like hanging stuff on the walls. So if I can avoid it, I'm gonna avoid it for his sake. I mean, I think this will look really nice. I think I'll be happy with this, especially once it grows in. And I love this plant. It's a very basic plant. Something I've realized about myself is I love the basic ones because they're basic for a reason. They're super easy. They can tolerate a lot of different conditions. In the long run, especially in a regular household environment outside of like terrariums and grow tents and even under grow lights, the basic ones seem to do a lot better and long-term look also better. Something I'm realizing, and I wish I would have realized it sooner because I did waste a lot of money on plants I don't actually love. Even though I really do love a lot of the super kind of finicky tropical plants, I do enjoy growing those, don't get me wrong, because they're fun and it's like, it's rewarding to have a more difficult plant do well and kind of be able to reap those benefits and see what a healthy specimen and try to get a healthy specimen. But in more like decor instances in my home, which I don't know if that's like kind of crappy, but I would definitely consider this plant a more like decor kind of plant, in my opinion, because it just looks good. Especially if you like a super planty filled home. Oh my gosh, I love this one. I do have a lot of extras here, so maybe I'll go ahead and post a bunch of these on my shop. Here's my pot. It's not super filled. I may end up, maybe I'll throw in a couple more actually. Some of these smaller activated nodes, I'm gonna just kind of throw in wherever it looks a little empty and hope for the best. When it comes to trying to get a full pot from propagations like this, especially water propagations, I always try to put in like 3 or 4 additional cuts if I can to help fill in the pot, because I'm just accounting on the fact that maybe like 5–10% of the cuttings I put in here aren't going to make it, because you know, all cuttings don't make it. Well, sometimes all cuttings do make it. I just kind of like to plan ahead in that scenario so I don't end up having to go back and add more cuts if the plant doesn't do well, or I don't know, if like a whole bunch of the cuts I put in die. I don't know. Just trying to plan ahead so that my plant has every opportunity to grow in beautifully. Gonna set this aside, add some water into here so I don't have to deal with it quite yet. And now I'm going to backfill. Let me bring you in close. Go around and try to cover all of the roots. I love waiting for really, really long root systems on water propagations because it makes it easier when it comes time to pot everything up together in the way that they'll kind of hold themselves up. And you know, sometimes when you pot up propagations, you have to like hold them in place and shimmy them around to really be able to, I don't know, like get them into a good positioning. But with long roots like this, they hold themselves in well enough that it's a lot easier in the potting process to have root systems long enough to hold the plant in place. Whoa, I am all over. I just accidentally flicked that so hard. I'm pushing down any roots that may need to be pushed down. What is that root? There's the plant. So I'm gonna go ahead and water this and see if we need any additional substrate or not. Hopefully not. There we go. This is the orientation that will be sitting up there. Let's put her in place. Sometimes I wish there was a little more instant gratification with plants. Woo. Let's see. Hang on, I need to climb down and see what that looks like from a distance. That is just not making the statement I was hoping it would make. So, new plan, because I'm really set on this now. I think I'm gonna take a plant off of here. Yeah, this is a Mandula pothos. Also, gonna try this Mandula pothos now. Oh, this is also, no, this is a global green pothos actually. I think this is the right answer. I do. Oh, that's so much better. Okay, I feel good about that. Okay, I don't know, we'll see. I can always move things around if I decide to. Oh, it looks good. Okay. Okay, and then, oh my gosh, that made such a big difference. Worth it. Now I kind of wish I would have potted these into a cuter planter maybe, but I'm just gonna stick this back here. I don't know, we'll see. That was such a small thing I could do to make a difference in this room. I ended up putting those cuts right here, so you can't really see them too well right now, but as that plant grows in, it's going to look really awesome. So since I took a couple of plants off the top of this lamp, it's looking a little bit empty on this side of the room. So I'm gonna pot up some more neon pothos cuttings and put them back up there to help kind of make it a little more even again. Let me add some water. Yeah, like that. Much better. Oh, I love it. I think the last thing I want to get done today is, okay, this is something I have been putting off, but this is my Monstera Albo, and I said I was going, and I've been saying that I wanted to let it grow out, which I do, don't get me wrong. I really want to just let it grow out, stop chopping it because I've chopped it so many times, but it has started to grow in the weirdest way. Like the stem is kind of curving around up here. I don't know if you can really see it from the angle you're at, but these leaves are facing toward these leaves over here, which soon this plant is just going to fall and snap. I've tried taping the plant up, kind of resting it against the wall over there, and nothing has really solved the problem. So I think that the only thing that can solve this problem is a good snip. Yeah, see, like even if I straighten the stem, this top leaf up here completely faces toward the wall. So I need to give it a haircut. I think I'm going to cut it here below this leaf node. Bring it in close. Oh, this is a thick stem. Whoops, did I just? No, we're good. Oh yeah, that's so much better. Now I can kind of straighten it out a little bit. But now that that's cut, this stem isn't winding around so much, blocking the light from these little baby plants, which were actually cuttings from this mama that I've potted back into the bottom here. They're gonna get so much more light. I bet all of these lower plants grow a lot more quickly now, and hopefully this top section will grow a lot more even. And even if it doesn't, it should be a lot easier to train or trellis to help it grow in the way that I would like. Although you can't always force it, clearly, but I'll just do the best I can. So I'm happy, that feels good. I'm glad that I did that. I'm glad I did that, although I was really nervous. Now I have this beautiful Monstera Albo cutting that I'm going to get propagated. The longer I look at this cutting, I'm realizing I want to take a node cut here because these 3 leaves will be easier to get to grow in the same direction, but this one is just a little bit in the way down here, so I'm going to take a node cut and propagate these as 2 separate plants. Right here. There's the 2 cuts. So I'm gonna let these callus for a few hours and I'll check back with you when I move to the next step. Good morning, welcome back. It's the next day. Actually, the morning of the day this video goes up. Filmed yesterday, edited it last night. It was a really late night, but anyway, I just wanted to go ahead and show you guys getting these potted up. So they have calloused over. They are like kind of hard and scabby looking at the ends of the cuts. That is what we want. To pot them, I am for now just going to be putting them into this cover pot with no drainage hole, with sphagnum petals, the really chunky perlite, and then some horticultural charcoal to help keep things cleanly, hopefully. Oh, and it is dampened, so I'm just gonna go ahead and push these down in however far I need to for them to be able to be supported. Try and get the aerial roots in there, although this cut is pretty long. Yeah, so that is it. That's our little plant. I'm just gonna put this on my windowsill in the bathroom. You know, let's just go put it in there together. I'm just gonna let it live in here in the bathroom because it'll get really, really good light here. And it's also pretty, there's also a little bit of extra humidity in here, which will help it propagate a bit faster. So that's where it's going to be living for now until it's rooted. I also wanted to show you that this new leaf right here has hardened off and it's absolutely beautiful. I was a little worried as this was unraveling because the leaf next to it had barely any variegation right here. Like you can barely see it, and that's all there is on this entire leaf. But this leaf did come in with quite a bit. You can see here, here. Actually, maybe you cannot see. I don't know. It's hard to pick up this variegation. Oh yeah. It's definitely a lot more like stark in real life. You can see it a lot better in real life, but for some reason, oh, there we go. That's a good angle. For some reason, my camera just doesn't pick it up that well. Really, really pretty. That leaf is massive, and I am excited to see where this plant ends up. Oh, it's such a beaut. Maybe I should have woken up a little more for the day, but yeah. I'm really glad I got that done. That plant has kind of been bothering me and I just kind of haven't known what to do with it. So it feels good to have finally just done something. I don't know if chopping it was the right decision. Yeah, we shall see. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you had a good time. I definitely did. Got a lot done. Feels good. And I love, like, it was such a small thing to put that plant on the cabinet, but I love it. I love it. I love it. Feels so much more jungly in there. That's going to be it for this one. I will see you next time. Bye!